Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to the Crypto Boys. Colin C here and Joe P. We are teaming up for another great video, and we've got the impossible question that we are going to try to answer today. That is, when will this crypto bear market end?
This question, like Colin said, literally impossible. Okay, we get it. We can't see the future. What we want to talk about today is the macro sense of all of the indicators that are telling us, hey, you know, maybe not too fantastic, not too great. We do have a couple charts we'll talk about. We have a couple timelines we'll talk about. Big people have done a lot of research on these topics before about bull markets, bear markets, the traditional stock markets, as well as Bitcoin. So we want to talk about all of those things today for you guys.
We understand the crypto market is in the crapper right now. However, we do appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel.
So traditionally lasting, a bull market is about 2.5 to 3 years long. Great. Everyone's happy. That's fantastic. Your traditional bear market is about 1.5, sometimes maybe it squeaks out to 2 years. That is traditional. 2013, from the top to the bottom, it took about 22 months to get done to the deepest, darkest parts of the bear market before prices actually started going back up. Now in 2017, it took 15 months to get from that top back down to the bottomest bottom of the bear market before it started to go back up. So is that the law of diminishing return a little bit? Is it just shorter for whatever reason? Is this time going to be 12 months? Who knows? But it's something to definitely consider about how long it typically takes to get to the bottom.
As we all know, there's something called the Bitcoin halving, and that typically runs a line with the bull market and the bear market. When we get to the halving, we could probably expect another 3 to 5x somewhere in there for Bitcoin. It started all the way back in 2012 at 100x, went to 2016 at 30x. The next halving in 2020 went to 8x, and now the next one, it's between what, April and March, I want to say?
Right
April,
around
March
there,
of
potentially.
2024 could be another 3 to 5x. Now, don't get this wrong. That does not mean it's only going to 3 to 5x from its current price. That means it's going to 3 to 5x after or around when that next halving is going to happen. So who knows? Bitcoin could be 60,000 then and still probably 3 to 5x.
This is potentially the most important thing that we have to discuss today, because this is the most unique bull bear market that Bitcoin has ever experienced. There's never been this much macro stuff going on in the world that's negatively impacting markets. I mean, back in 2008 with the housing market crash, that's like in the inception of Bitcoin, you know, so it really didn't have any of that. It didn't really have a stock market crash, anything before that. Now we're kind of in the depths of it, of stock markets going down, inflation's high, like a lot of other things that are not beneficial for crypto market.
And if you guys have seen, like we just talked about the halving cycles and how they run with the Bitcoin bull and bear markets, we do the exact same thing. Our crypto does the exact same thing with the stock market. It's treated as if it's another tech stock or something like that, a risk on asset. Now listen, there have been some decoupling events, but not enough to say with any sort of authority that we're completely decoupled from the stock market. And if someone really did say that, it just wouldn't be true. So what we're looking at is, in this macro sense, like Joe had said, is how are Bitcoin and crypto investors going to affect the market, these institutional buyings, with the things that are going on right now? Does the war stop? What happens? Does the supply chain issues get solved? What happens? We have no idea, because there are too many issues feeding into this bear market right now. And as we take out one stick by one stick by one stick, it will let us know what will happen in the future.
My brain is literally a pretzel right now about how many factors and variables there are that no one knows where it's going to go. I mean, not that they ever know where the traditional market is going, typically up and to the right. However, right now it's going down, down, down. And there's so many factors, especially with the rate interest hikes being put into the economy right now because inflation is so high. I think that's probably one of the biggest things. Another big thing that we have to talk about too, Voyager, Terra Luna, other crypto exchanges getting shut down. I mean, if these things continue to go, there's going to be millions and billions of dollars that were going to go back into this market that are just gone. They're taken. They're no longer being able to be accessed.
Well, and the people who are getting their money taken or getting it locked up on the Voyager, on the Celsius, on BlockFi at the time, wherever that may be, these are people who are very heavily invested into crypto. Now they don't have their money. They don't have their liquid cash. what is that going to do? Is that going to spell fear that they're going to get out and be gone? Or are they going to try to have to, kind of hard it for the next 2-3 years and try to get their money back and try to keep making money in this very volatile space? And then we've got something even crazier out there, regulation. It's coming, and it's coming fast. The EU just passed stuff today on regulation.
Another X factor for this bear market, if regulation comes through with the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, if now the government starts using that, are people going to be more scared to get into crypto because now everything's being tracked by the government? Now they can only give you so much of this coin so that you can get into it. I mean, we don't even know how it's going to look. Or is it going to be like, oh, CBDC, yep, regulation. Now the huge investors are coming in. Now the massive corporations are coming in, which is going to spell FOMO for the retail investors because now the Bitcoin price is going up. I mean, if regulation comes in and people start FOMOing in because massive investors and companies and organizations start buying Bitcoin, if we get to the halving, that next halving, and maybe at 3 to 5x, but it's already at 100x, I mean, that's something that can spell out positively for the Bitcoin market here.
Well, and here's what we want to know from you guys. And if you would, throw it in the comments below, please. And we're going to also link a couple videos that we watched that gave us some ideas, and we put our spin on it for this video. But what we want to know from you guys is regulation going to help the crypto space, or is it going to hurt it? Overall, we're already pretty centralized because one person can click a button at Voyager and say, you're not using your funds. One person at Celsius can click a button and say, you're not using your funds. Oh, Solana goes in and out. Guess what? Why does that go in and out? Because it's centralized. Somebody is controlling it. So the decentralization, maybe we're not as decentralized as we completely thought. Now, Bitcoin, that's as decentralized as you get. And that is why Bitcoin will always be the one the investors and really those big institutionals put their money in, because they don't want anyone to tell them what to do with their money. Again, they're not trying to make a 10, 20, 30x. They don't care.
No.
They just don't want to lose their money.
All right, guys, so to answer the question, when will this bear market end? Both of us are going to put our spin on our thoughts here. Now, for me personally, I think the top, of course, November of 2021. That was the top. If I'm looking back at the data that I gave you earlier about the 22 months and the 15 months, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to say 12 months from the top, we will be at our bottom for the bear market. Doesn't mean it's not going to, hang out there for a long time, but I think that that's going to be the bottom will be November, December timeframe of 2022.
In my opinion, I really do agree with Joe on this. I think the bear market is probably going to end around that time. Here's a factor that I have that's kind of stuck in the back of my mind, and that is, when do these macro events get better? Because I think the more we crab market, and if we chill sideways, if the war gets more intensified, if the economy gets even worse, if it goes longer than we thought, then I think it's going to be pushed out to next March, maybe even next April, somewhere in that range. So I'm really focusing on the macro events, because if they turn around quickly, I think we can get out of this type of bear market that's this far deep quicker than we think, where we can chill at maybe 40 or 45,000. But to see these numbers that we're seeing right now, I do think that it is lower than I initially thought we would go.
So as always, we want to know what your guys' opinion are. We want to know, when do you think the bear market is going to end? What are you doing with your funds right now? I mean, do you have those extra funds? Are you going to wait until that bear market gets to the bottom, throw some money in there? Drop comments below. And as always, guys, make sure that you like the video. It helps us out tremendously. And subscribe if you learned anything from this video today. And as always, thanks for joining the fittest crypto channel on YouTube. We're out.